What's going on, guys? Jeff in here. Kurfurst on the screen with the 420s Celiacs. My Kurfurst commander with a double secondary build. 10.9 kilometers on the secondary. I'm going to be jumping right into this one here. And this is obviously going to be against Yamato and some other ships. You're going to see a decent Kurfurst game. And there's basically you're going to see a mix of the Kurfurst, good and bad, its strengths and weaknesses. I think that the Kurfurst really does need some help at the tier. It's not quite strong enough to be able to stand alone and hold its own against like Yamato and some of these other battleships at the tier. But again, it's not the only battleship at legendary tier that struggles. From what I'm seeing right now, the new Montana is going to struggle against Yamato's. Obviously, I don't have access to Montana right now, but that's based off of just kind of watching some streams and taking notice of some stuff here. With this build with Celiacs, you do get the double heal, and you do get the benefit of that 10.9 kilometer secondary. These secondaries on this ship are pretty solid. I was playing a little bit. I just more recently have started to play Legendary tier, and I ended up getting a pretty decent game in this ship with 2 close quarter sinkings. So the secondaries aren't a joke. They are legitimate threats to be taken seriously. So, you have that as a benefit. The 420s, I've gone back and forth on whether I want the 420s or I'm going to end up, sticking with what comes base. So you could, if you didn't want the 420s, you could stick with the 406s. But to me, the 2 seconds that you get with the 406s versus the 420s on the reload time, I would just rather have the little extra pop, honestly. You get a little more damage, you get a little more pop out of those guns, and I think that the accuracy is basically negligible. So I think even though they're bigger caliber guns and you do add about 2 seconds on your reload, I think ultimately, you're in a legendary tier ship. You're going to have to be fighting some heavy hitting ships. So you really need that extra help. Okay, so Kurfurst, it does have a large HP pool, 95,000 HP. And if you end up using, for example, hide on this, your number is gonna go well over 100, I believe. Give me 1 second here. I got my numbers written down. Yeah, you're gonna go to 100,360 HP. So you have that as a benefit too, and that's without a Sims inspiration on there. So obviously, Sims inspiration, you'd add another couple thousand to that. So, large HP pool. You are a threat. Z23 charging in here, and you're seeing basically the results of what happens when you have that. Now that's pre-secondary boost. So now the secondary boost goes on. You see, we get the main batteries. We take a shot there. The secondary boost starts throwing lasers out, chewing them up, and we end up getting the sinking there. So there's one thing too I also want to talk about. The thing that I like about the Kurfurst is you do have the consumable. You do have your sonar, torpedo detection 4 kilometers, and obviously ships are detected at 6. It's a 60-second consumable, so you get it for a minute. And depending on your build, I have 2 of them. So it is a nice little perk. It does help you a little bit with those torpedoes, basically to line up your escape angle for your ship. So when you have these secondaries set up for basically brawling, you're going to get that advantage when you basically prepare yourself to go in and brawl. So what I'm trying to get at is overall Kurfurst with the sonar and with the secondary build that I have with 10.9 kilometers and with the sonar consumable 4 heals, the secondary consumable, you can be competitive, but there is some disadvantages to this ship. One of which I would like to point out is the fact that you are fighting Yamatos. Yamatos are just substantially more powerful than every other ship in the game, and it's not even close. You basically are going to have to wait to get a Yamato to make an error for you to be able to affect the game. And as much as I don't want that to be the way that this game or this ship has to be played, you are not strong enough in this ship to outright influence and outright bully and dictate the pace of play. Yamato can bully and dictate the pace of play. So when you're fighting against Yamato, you have to basically feel it out. Ideally, you put yourself in a situation like this where you get a broadside and you punish that decision by the Yamato. But my point on it is Yamato can dictate the pace of play. Kurfurst has to react to the pace of play. And that is the biggest difference in why I think Kurfurst is substantially weaker than Yamato. And for that matter, most other battleships at Legendary tier. Its strength is the secondaries. We all know this. And it doesn't even have as long as secondaries as Bismarck. So I've made this point several times. I've talked about this point several times. To me, when I'm looking at a ship like Kurfurst, I want this ship to be special. It's a legendary tier ship. It should have some legendary characteristic, either whether that's secondary range, secondary accuracy, secondary fire chain. I mean, something. Give this thing something to be fearful of when you're fighting it. So that's my big gripe on this ship and my position on it. To me, I mean, I would like to see something along the lines of either adding an increased length of the consumable or tightening up the normal dispersion of the secondaries on this thing. Make it have something worthwhile. You know, give it a 12.5 kilometer secondary reach. Do something for it. Just make this ship special. Make it a legendary. That's all I'm asking. So, see there, we end up taking down Iowa. Cabras, last ship left. Secondary consumables going. We end up getting about 100, a little over 100 secondaries hits in this game. We're at 142k for damage. And again, you're seeing those secondary guns. They're getting there. They're, you know, that's 10 plus kilometers, and you're seeing we're getting some pepper and shots. And if our ally wouldn't have taken him down, we would have ended up taking him down. But again, I just want Wargaming to do something special for Kurfurst, because right now it just doesn't have what it needs to be competitive at the tier. And, you know, you want to go down the line to other legendaries. Other legendaries have that special perk. Kurfurst is okay in the right situation, but it's dependent on play, not dictating the pace. So if you like the video, leave it a like. We'll see you guys on the high seas.